Psychology says when a man loses his joy in life, he rarely says so. He just starts shrinking his world down to a size where disappointment can no longer reach him. I've watched it happen too many times to count. A friend stops showing up to our weekly poker game. A colleague declines lunch invitations, saying he's just too busy. My neighbor, who used to chat over the fence every weekend, now just gives a quick wave from his car window. They never say they're struggling. They never mention feeling lost. They just quietly make their world smaller, one declined invitation at a time. After I retired from my insurance job at 62, I went through something similar. That transition hit harder than I expected. Without the structure of work meetings and water cooler conversations, I found myself turning down social invitations, convincing myself I preferred the quiet. Looking back, I wasn't choosing solitude. I was protecting myself from a world that suddenly felt too big and unpredictable. This is the silent retreat nobody talks about. William Pollack, a Harvard psychologist, points out that depression is vastly underdiagnosed in men. And here's the thing, it's not because men don't experience it. It's because we've gotten really good at hiding it, even from ourselves. When joy starts slipping away, most men won't schedule a therapy appointment or confide in a friend. Instead, they'll start canceling plans. They'll work later hours. They'll find excuses to skip family gatherings. They'll stop trying new restaurants, stop planning trips, and stop saying yes to anything that might remind them of what they're missing. I remember declining invitations to my former colleagues' retirement parties. It wasn't because I was angry or jealous. It was because being around that energy, that sense of purpose and belonging I once had, felt like touching a fresh bruise. It was just easier to stay home, to keep my world small enough that I could control it. So, why does disappointment become the enemy? Think about the last time you felt truly disappointed. Not just mildly let down, but genuinely crushed by unmet expectations. Now imagine feeling that way about everything: your career, your relationships, your future. That's the weight many men carry silently. When life repeatedly fails to meet our expectations, we adapt. But instead of adjusting our expectations or seeking help, we often choose a third option. We stop expecting anything at all. We cancel the trip before circumstances can. We don't apply for the promotion we probably won't get anyway. We don't reach out to old friends who might not have time for us. Psychologist Terence Real explains that depressed men often have less tolerance for internal pain and turn to some action or substance for relief. For many of us, that action is withdrawal. We become experts at avoiding situations where we might feel vulnerable, inadequate, or worse, hopeful. This self-preservation creates a comfort zone that quickly becomes a prison. You know that guy who used to love trying new restaurants, but now only orders from the same 3 places? Or the one who had a dozen hobbies, but now just watches TV every night? That shrinking isn't laziness. It's self-preservation gone wrong. When I first retired, I told myself I was just simplifying. I didn't need all those work friendships. I didn't need to attend community events. But simplifying and shrinking are different things. One is intentional. The other is fear dressed up as preference. The smaller we make our world, the less chance there is for failure or rejection. But here's what nobody mentions. The smaller we make our world, the less room there is for surprise, connection, or joy. We become so focused on avoiding pain that we accidentally avoid everything else too. Breaking this pattern starts with recognition. Healthline notes that depression often makes people want to withdraw, which can make the symptoms worse. It's a cycle. Have you noticed yourself saying no more than yes lately? Are your weekends getting quieter? These aren't character flaws. They're symptoms. The first step isn't forcing yourself to suddenly become a social butterfly. It's simply recognizing the pattern. When I finally admitted to myself that I wasn't choosing solitude but hiding in it, everything began to shift. You don't have to throw your world wide open all at once. In fact, That's probably the worst thing you could do. Instead, think of it as selective expansion. Pick one area of your life to gently stretch. Maybe it's reconnecting with one old friend. Maybe it's trying one new activity a month. Maybe it's just saying yes to the next invitation that comes your way, even if your first instinct is to decline. After months of isolation, I started with something simple. I accepted an invitation to grab coffee with a former colleague. Just coffee. 1 hour. It felt like climbing a mountain, but it reminded me that connection didn't have to be overwhelming. The goal isn't to become someone you're not. It's to stop letting fear disguise itself as preference. It has to recognize that protecting yourself from disappointment might also be protecting yourself from everything that makes life worth living. Men don't announce when they're losing their joy. They just quietly rearrange their lives to need less of it. They convince themselves that wanting less is the same as hurting less. But a smaller world isn't a safer world. It's just a lonelier one. If you recognize yourself in these words, know that you're not broken or weak. You're human. And the walls you've built can come down just as quietly as they went up, one small choice at a time. Thanks for listening.